are the safest steroids Test and Primo, generally speaking. So this would be your TRT plus.
Test and Primo, is it the safest? I'd probably say when you're looking at a holistic view, probably yes. You tend to see that testosterone and Primo, the least impactful on a negative effects on your lipid profile, just generally speaking, from what I've seen. Now, the issue with me saying that yes to Primo is that I think that masterone is a better option most of the times if you're worried about estrogenic side effects like gynecomastia. The reason for that is systemic estrogen is great for us when you're overall trying to gain as much muscle tissue as possible. And mast tends to not reduce down systemic estrogen nearly as effectively as Primo does. Now, if someone just aromatizes that testosterone really heavily into estrogen, Primo is probably the better option. But you can also do a blended approach of Primo and mast. I find that a lot of guys psychologically feel better on masterone than Primo as well because they have higher systemic levels of estrogen and it's good for neurotransmitter health.
If they're on a high test base, presumably.
Correct. If they're on a high, if test is the base, right? And you do see these cycles now where they're like 200 milligrams of testosterone, and I'm not even making this up, like grams of Primo and grams of masterone and stuff like that.
I've seen
crazy numbers.
A lot of people will keep the test the same, 200, 250, whatever, and they'll go high, medium, low, pause off of Primo or mast. Of course, from my standpoint, unless this is, someone who had a prescription for masterone for their breast cancer, they're probably not getting their primobolan. That's what Primo is primobolan or methanolone, usually in the form of methanolone enanthate as the ester. Unfortunately not a prescription option, because I do agree from what I see both in the clinical literature and anecdotally, pretty good safety profile. But of course, I always recommend against methanolone enanthate and also anything in general that is not prescribable. So the other thing that I would say is for those of, people listening that just have health as a goal, but want maybe a little bit more muscle than the 75 mgs once a week of testosterone and enanthate that they're getting from their endocrinologist, they're probably better off just seeing how they can tolerate it and then talking to that doctor or maybe a different doctor that understands that there can be a pretty wide therapeutic window for testosterone replacement for many people.